Before getting started, especially if I'm working with an existing website, there are 3 accounts that I like to set up if they're not already set up. Those are Google Webmaster Tools, which is actually now Google Search Console. There is Bing Webmaster Tools, which is the same thing as Google Search Console. It's obviously just the Bing version. And lastly, Google Analytics, so that we can track what visitors are doing on the site. Now, hopefully Google Analytics has already been set up if you're working with an existing site. This is particularly helpful because you can track changes before and after a design if you've redesigned the site, or if you're just going ahead and implementing your SEO campaign, you'll be able to see any improvement in conversion and see new traffic you bring in from your SEO efforts. That way you can have a before and after picture, and it's really helpful to compare. Of course, you just want to make sure that you are using the same tracking code to get this information. But if it's not set up already though, definitely go ahead and set it up and add a new site to track the traffic. Now when you log into Google Analytics, it's going to walk you through actually adding a new site. It's very easy to do. You're just going to pop in your URL and then it's going to give you a tracking code. Now if you're using like a WordPress website, for example, there are plenty of plugins out there that will allow you to install the plugin and just insert your Google Analytics code so that you don't have to actually dig into the code if you don't know how to, you don't want to, etc. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and add it in to the code directly. But within this Google Analytics code, we're going to be able to see how many sessions that we have. We're going to be able to see how long visitors are actually staying on our site, what our bounce rate is so that we know if we need to adjust that, if we are not converting visitors as well, they're not getting the message right away. Also, we can see what pages that they're actually looking at, what keywords they're using to find our site. So this is a lot of helpful information in this analytics program. There are some others. If you want to use other analytics programs, that's absolutely fine. Google Analytics is just free and it's easy to implement. So a lot of people go with that. But you also want to implement your Google Search Console, as I mentioned. This is going to show you how Google actually sees your website, and it's going to alert you to any problems that your site may have now or that it will have in the future if anything happens. And that is going to allow you to take immediate action. So this is a great way to show Google that you're serious, that you're focused on your website and making sure that you improve it. But for instance, here once I'm signed in, I can see that this existing site that we haven't started working on yet has some mobile usability issues. So I know that this website, for instance, does not have a mobile friendly version, which is not good if you're trying to rank your website. So that's obviously an issue that we can work on. But if I didn't know about that, Google is telling me that that's a problem. So if Google is telling me that's a problem, it's obviously something you want to focus on. If I go to search traffic, I'm also going to be able to see my search analytics here. I can look through different queries that people are typing in, how many actual clicks I'm getting for my site that's popping up for different search terms. I can look at which pages are going to be the most popular. I can see the position that my website appears in for different keywords. This isn't super accurate, I found. I prefer the Google Analytics version. But you can also see links to your site. You can see any internal links if there's been any manual actions. Now, if your website is not using English, or you are let's say you are using a top-level domain like .com, .net, etc., then you can target visitors in a particular country and you can let Google know which country your website is targeting. If you are using a country-specific domain, then you don't need to do that as well. But this is just where you can really communicate with Google here. Again, if you're having any mobile issues, it's going to alert you to that here. Is your website actually being indexed? I have 6 pages on the site and 6 of them are indexed, so I know that's good. But this is going to help me know whether or not Google has already seen my website. It's going to tell me what keywords that Google finds within my content. So as you can see, Under crawl, it's also going to let me know if there's any errors going on. I can submit a sitemap. So there's a lot that you can do to communicate directly with Google in the Search Console. So there is going to be some overlap between the Google Search Console and Google Analytics, but really it's best to go ahead and implement both because they're going to work very nicely hand in hand. But once you set up your account, you're going to need to sign in, add the property, and then verify it. It's going to give you a few ways to verify your website, and you want to pick one of those that's easiest for you and do that so you can get all of the data. Now you're going to want to make sure you also go into your settings and go to Search Console Preferences. And here you're going to want to make sure that you enable email notification. That way, if Google crawls your site and they discover malware or they discover a mobile usability issue like this site or any other issue that they see with ranking your website, that they can instantly send you an email. You can let them know what issues you want to know about, and you can then select the email address you'd like to go to and click save. That way you don't have to worry about logging in all the time to your account. You'll be notified via email. Now what we'll do is once our new website is up, then we can go ahead and upload a new sitemap to let Google know that they can go ahead and crawl the new site. So we'll be visiting this again a little bit later as well. Now for Bing Webmaster Tools, if you don't already have an account, you can go ahead and register for an account, fill out the information. Here you'll have to go through the same process as you do with the Google Search Console. You enter all your account information, you're going to enter your website, and it's going to give you a few options for verifying your website as well. As you're setting up your profile, you'll notice that there's a contact preference here that they can notify you about specific issues with your site. So you do want to go ahead and check that here as well. If you already have your account set up, you want to make sure that this is enabled in your settings as well. If I have site issues, I want to know immediately, not a week later, so that I can address that right away. And it's going to let me know if there's any issues with crawl errors, sitemaps, index issues, malware. For me, it doesn't matter what the problem is. I want to know about it right away so I can take action. Now this gives me a few options to verify the site. I can place a particular file here that I can actually just download this and upload this to the server. I can copy and paste this code into my meta tag, or I can add a CNAME record to DNS. Usually I just like to add the file, makes it quick and easy, and then I'm ready to go. So I paused this video, I went ahead and uploaded the XML file. Now I'm going to click verify. So now I am at my dashboard. This is where I'm going to be able to upload my sitemap, as we'll do later on. I can see the search keywords that are coming up in Google. If I'm focusing on a particular country, I can do that here as well. Under reports and data, one neat thing that they have is called SEO reports. And I can go in here, and this is going to give me any SEO suggestions and let me know how urgent these issues are and how I can go about fixing these, what pages they're on, etc. So since this is a brand new site, Bing has to go ahead and scan the site before they're going to be able to give this information. But if I just give this a little bit of time, I can come back and see what issues Bing sees with my website, so I make sure that I can correct those right away. And here I'll be able to see my search keywords as well. Under diagnostics and tools, there is also an SEO analyzer where I can go ahead and enter a URL, whether that's my home page or one of my service pages, for example, and it's going to let me know if my particular page is up to date with the best SEO practices. This is something that's kind of neat about Bing Webmaster Tools. It gives us a little more insight into what we can do. But again, just make sure that you go ahead and you set up your Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and your Bing Webmaster Tools, so you make sure you are getting up-to-date information from the search engines themselves on how they view your website.